McDonough, and I am the owner of Marie's Wood Carvings. I actually did very minimal art study. I did do a little bit of art study out in California, some three-dimensional art. But I ran into a gentleman who was a master wood carver in about 1980 and asked him to teach me how to wood carve, and he said no. And I begged and pleaded, and he eventually agreed to take me on as a student, and we became business partners for a year and created actually a carousel that was in the governor's mansion in Iowa for 3 months. After working with him a year, my husband was in the Navy, and so he transfers a lot, and my wood carving days kind of went side for about 30 years. And I got downsized about 5 years ago and couldn't find a job, and decided, as I've always said, when I grow up I want to be a wood carver. And at the age of 65 I thought it was time to grow up, and so I decided to open Marie's Wood Carvings here in Stockton. I think it's a great little town. I really do. I love it, and I'm hoping it's successful. Most of my work is done out of exotic and hard woods. Most wood carvers carve out of basswood. My pink ivory is one of the hardest woods in the world, and I do the pocket hearts and roses out of that. And so they're just a little bit unique. I leave them all in their natural colors and just oil them, and so they're very natural. I love to do wildlife. That's where my heart is and my passion is. My hardest thing I've ever carved was for Dr. Mike, the chiropractor. I did a cervical spine for him. I just had a very dear friend of mine pass away in February, and she loved butterflies. And so my husband actually built the urn out of oak, and then I carved a butterfly and hand painted it purple butterfly for her, and it's mounted on a rose crystal. My classes I teach usually from age 6 to 106. And we start with a simple little comfort bird, and within 4 hours of doing classes they take home a finished carving. And then if they're interested in doing additional carving, we can do other projects or anything that they have a passion to learn how to carve. Well, as far as locally here, I belong to the ARRT, the All River Road Talent, and the Scenic Art Loop. There's 3 of us in town, artist-wise, and then of course Stella's is part of that as well. And so there's so many artists in this area, in this region. I got kind of involved with the Galena Center for the Arts and had a small studio up there for about a year. Kind of outgrew it. And that's when I decided to open my own shop here. Just kind of expand and have more room for teaching, because I've been doing it on my back porch, which isn't heated or air conditioned. So. My favorite wood to carve out of is cherry, especially when I'm doing a lot of wildlife with legs and ears and things, because it's stronger than the typical basswood. So this is not a solid piece of cherry. It's actually 3 boards glued together, and then shaped and then carved. 130 to 140 hours worth of carving time. I've developed my own style as far as the texture of the hair and the painting technique. I don't know if it's the right way, but it's what works for me. So I've developed my own style, which is what I like. This is the process of the rose. It starts out just as basically an 1.5-inch dowel rod, and then it's roughed out, and then I just start slowly turning it into a rose. And I do bottle stoppers, and I do scarf slides, and I do magnetic slides. I sell a lot of these in small gift shops and stuff in the area.